Our guest speaker today is Pidge Morgan. She's a missionary from Trinity Ecumenical Church in Manita and president of Godparents of Tanzania. And I had the privilege of spending 18 incredible days with her in Tanzania last September. She's an amazing lady, and I'm sure her presentation will be a blessing to us all. Pidge?
Thank you. I hope it's amazing. Linda already told you a little bit about who I am. I am Pidge Morgan. I am a member of Trinity Ecumenical Parish in Manita, and I am their Tanzanian missionary. I'm also a mother, a grandmother, a friend, a Christian, a missionary, and I'm Mama and Bibi to lots of people in Tanzania. I'm a tour leader, and I'm sorry, but I'm a Yankee. I am also president of Godparents for Tanzania. G4TZ, which is what we call it, is a 501c3 registered in Virginia. It was started by the Reverend Dwayne Westerman in 1998. We seek sponsors to provide scholarships for children to go to school in Tanzania, and once they finish their education, they must stay in Tanzania. Where do I live? Manita, Virginia, but my heart lives in Tanzania. How did I get started? For a long time, I knew God was calling me to do something, but I didn't know what it was. I could feel Him tapping me on the shoulder. And then I had a dream. It might sound a little bit strange, and it was a pretty strange dream. When I woke up, I couldn't imagine what had happened. I was driving a large tractor trailer through a very busy town, a city rather. And I was very worried that I could not get the truck around the back, get it around the corners, because the load on the back was full and it was very heavy. So I'm driving and I felt this glow next to me, and I turned and I looked and Jesus was sitting next to me. And I continued driving and I turned again to look at Him, and He was gone, but the load on the back of my truck was gone too. In 2003, I was fortunate to take a photo safari to Tanzania. And while I was there, many things happened. I met a man named Dwayne Westerman, who started Godparents for Tanzania. And I also met Johnson Laimu, a reverend, who I started Door of Hope Maasai Ministry with. Also Peniel Shalley, who is the founder and director of the High Institute of Technology, which are two of our mission partners. In 2003, when I was there, I was sitting in a hotel at the edge of the Ngorongoro crater. And after dinner, the staff came out to sing to us. And they have these beautiful, deep, melodic voices, and it wasn't a sobbing kind of tear, but you know the kind that just run out of the corner of your eyes when you don't expect them to. This woman who was in the group stepped out and she said to me, "Don't worry, you're going to come back." And then I knew that God was really shaking me hard, and this is where I was supposed to be. So when I met these two people, Johnson and Peniel, I learned from them what it was that Tanzania needed. Johnson needed a home for Maasai girls. He had been a pastor in the Maasai land, and he just felt a need to minister to them. And he wanted to bring the Maasai girls into a special place where they would be saved from polygamous marriages, the HIV/AIDS pandemic, and female genital mutilation. So he asked me if I would be interested in helping him form this place. He already had some girls in mind that he would go into the Maasai land to bring to to Door of Hope. And so he asked, "Would you help me?" I said, "Oh, sure." It took me about 3 seconds. "Yeah, I'll help you." And little did I know that I would still be doing this 20 years later, more than 20 years later. The girls are amazing. And when they come to us, they are very young. They're about 7 or 8. And their parents or their families agree that they will stay with us until they finish their education. And that can be 10 or 12 years, sometimes longer than that. We have a good success rate with the girls, and they are just the sweetest little girls you'd ever want to see. You can see, I do have photographs. I will speak from my photographs because they tell a better picture than I do. They can tell a better story than I can. I don't know, something like that. And then when I saw Peniel Shalley, who was the director of the High Institute of Technology, there was one building, one very small building, but his dream was to make a place where children, boys and girls, could be educated in careers that are beneficial to a developing third world country. And Today there are dormitories, there are classrooms, there are many classes offered. So I am going to speak from my pictures now, and Joshua is going to help me. You'll see that there are many pictures of Kilimanjaro, which is the highest mountain in Africa. And it's because I believe that Kilimanjaro represents God's steadfast love. I mean, this mountain does not change, it's just beautiful. So throughout the slideshow, there are pictures of Kilimanjaro. And when I am finished, if anybody has any questions, I am certainly happy to answer them for you. Okay. This, of course, is Kilimanjaro. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Up a little bit, please.
Louder?
A little bit.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. This is what Door of Hope looked like in the beginning. This was just the one little building. And now it has grown. Next. This is Door of Hope's dining. I can. Will this come off?
Yes.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. This is the dining room at Door of Hope, and as you can see, it is a little bit different than that building that was there in the beginning. Right now there are 9 girls in residence, and when the girls are older, they must go to, when they have to go to secondary school, they have to board because the schools are so far away. Next. The area is also prone to flooding, so they have these steel grates that go down into the ground below the level of the wall. This is our night watchman, who is an amazing young man, and Door of Hope is a gated, safe community. How Door of Hope got its name is that Johnson Laimu, who is my partner that helped me start Door of Hope, or I helped him start Door of Hope, he said to me, you know, I have a home for the mass. I wanted to start this home, and I had a dream, another dream. He said, in the sky I saw an angel, and underneath her were the words, God's Hope Saving Ministry. And he said, I couldn't understand why it was written in English, or why the angel wasn't a black angel, she was a white angel, and I couldn't understand that. And I didn't learn this until about 5 or 6 years after we had started this place. And when he asked me if I wanted to go down to look at that little building that you saw in the first, he said to me, I'll pick you up at 10 o'clock and we'll go down there and look. And the night before that, I had a dream. Do you remember the old doors that had the panels that went this way and they had the big brass knobs on them? Yes? When I got there, that's the door that was on the building, the same door. So that's how it became Door of Hope. This is also one of the, this will eventually be Johnson Limu's residence at Door of Hope. He will live there eventually. The compound is gated and safe, and when the girls come to us, we meet them in a different area than where Door of Hope is, because sometimes the fathers like to take the girls back to marry them off for cows. Cows are money in the Maasai. This is just the back of the building. This, you'll see some of the girls. When you visit Door of Hope, the girls will come out to meet you, and when you visit, I'm assuming you're all coming with me. Debbie, you're shaking your head, yes. The girls come out to meet you and they sing, and they sing, and they're very happy that they have visitors, and they just love being around people. And one of the little girls I took this time had never seen a white person before, and she was just so excited because they I don't know what they told her was going to happen, but she was very excited. And this also is part of the residence where the girls will stay. And you can see Johnson Limu. Someone asked me what I was doing. I said, I'm telling him what to do. Of course, I have to tell him what to do. Women have to tell him, right? Like I said, it's a gated community. Next. This is the night watchman's house, and the night watchman's house is built higher than the rest of it because the area is prone to flooding. And what happened is, a year ago in the beginning of April, there was a major flood, and you will see some of the pictures. The water came down from the mountain, which is very far away, but there's also a stream that runs behind Door of Hope. and the water breached the wall, and it also came through the wall and destroyed part of the compound. And so the night watchman got the girls and the matrons, there are matrons that take care of the girls, into his little room here and got them up on his bed and poked a hole in the ceiling so that if the water got high, they could get up there. And eventually they did have to get up there because the water was over 5.5 feet deep inside the compound. Again, this is in the kitchen. This is Julius. He's showing you how high this young man got all the girls and the matrons out. He got all the food and most of the bedding up where the water could not get to it. But this was an amazing feat on his part. Here, how the water destroyed some of the concrete around the back of the building. And this is inside one of the rooms. You can see if I'm standing right there on about 18 inches of mud. And you can see there, it is amazing that no one was hurt. But then again, God was there and He took care of everybody, as He always does. Now Door of Hope is all they had to tear down part of the structure. The whole toilet block had to be torn down. Part of the rooms where the matrons stay, the cattle shelter. By the way, during the flood, they thought the neighbors thought that the cow had died, but she swam out. I didn't realize, I'm a country girl, but I didn't know cows could swim. This is the rebuilt area. That whole area there had to be torn down and rebuilt. Okay, in this picture you will see one person at least that you know. She's standing to the right and she's got a green outfit on and a pink shawl around her shoulder. And when we take groups to visit Door of Hope, they sing to us and we sing to them. And they like the hokey pokey the best. I do too. And this is just part of the wall that was rebuilt. And here again is this is Kilimanjaro at sunset. And as I mentioned to you earlier, it really does represent to me God's steadfast love. This mountain is just unbelievable, and it changes every single day and every single hour of the day. This is at sunset. And when we arrive, the girls are very happy to see everybody, even though they've never seen them before. They're very happy to see them. They're hugging and just very happy that the people care enough to come and see them. All of the girls, they attend school. The Door of Hope is a residence. It's not a school. They all go to school. Now cake is a big deal. When it's your birthday, you get a cake, a lot of cake. A lot of times you get cake. You get many cakes in one day. So they gave me a cake and I gave it back to them because they wanted cake. I already had 7 cakes, so I gave them the cake. You can see there, and these are the main, whoops, can you back up a second? All right, you're all right. You're not allowed to leave without being sung away. They have to sing you away. Okay, they're singing me away here. These are the 2 current matrons we have. This is Bahati and Susan, and they are both amazing young women. The girls get to go to, we have a doctor close by, and they go every year for a physical, for a checkup. And we were sitting waiting for the girls, and because of the flooding, they had to have hepatitis shots and things, a lot of extra things, and the matrons were trying to be very brave, but they didn't like the needles either. Let me see if I can remember their names. The first one on the left is Cecilia, behind her is Namalak, and then there's Ava and Zawadi. Zawadi means gift, the little tiny one is Zawadi. And then there is Miriam and Rhoda and Lucia. And the girl who is right next to me on my left, I can't say her name. And then there's Maria in the back. They're waiting at the doctor's office there. This is something new. There's never been a refrigerator at Door of Hope, and it's been there. The building has been there for probably 12 years. So this was a very exciting day for them to have a refrigerator. And we had put the water in. They don't drink cold water. Nothing is cold. They eat or drink. It just hurts them so much. So we had to stage the water. This is the day that I picked up these new girls. I was told that I was going to get 2 more girls because some of the girls had gone to school and they were not in residence at Door of Hope. And we have a lot of room at Door of Hope. So they told me that I was going to get 2 new girls, and when I showed up there were 5. And how could I say no? So then one of the women that had come with the girls, they come from far away. The Maasai land from where we are in Moshi is the town where I work. The Maasai land is a long ride by bus and by sometimes they come by the piki, which is a motorcycle. So lots of people come with them, so we were waiting and waiting. So one of the women that came with them said to me at the end of this presentation you see I have many crosses around my neck and things, and she said to me, well, can you take 1 more? And I went, can I take 1 more? Yes, I can take 1 more. She says, well, how about if we come back next Saturday and I'll bring you another girl, we'll bring some more girls. I said, oh, 1 girl, they'll bring me 1 girl. I said, okay. So the following Saturday I get there and there's 3 girls. So they were encouraging me, and the Maasai can be very demanding, and they're also very large. So they told me I said, you told me there's going to be 1, and now there's 3. I said, and that one is too little. She's too young, I can't take her. And then one of the men said to me, oh, she's 7 years old, she's just short. She couldn't have been 4 years old. That's a little bit. So anyway, then I took 2 instead of 1. You can see the man all the way to the right is the teacher who brings usually the girls, and you can see how short that 7-year-old is next to me. And here again is Kilimanjaro. This is a Door of Hope success story. This is Magrath. And Magrath came to us when she was about 15 years old. She's now 27, I believe. She wanted to become a beautician and have her own store. So she had given me a list of things that she wanted to do, things that she needed, and how she was going to prepare for this, and how she was going to make the money, what she needed in support. So here she is. Here's Magrath in her salon in Arusha, Tanzania. Very happy young woman. So we have several success stories, and this is really exciting to see her like this and to be in her presence when she's you can see by her face that she's just so happy and filled with joy. Every year, we re-interview all of our students for Godparents for Tanzania. And this lodge where we do that is called Stella Maris, and there's a staircase that goes up to the rooms. And every year I sit with the girls. This is the traditional photo. Let's see. The girl my arm is on her shoulder. She is a teacher. She had gone back to her village. They have the option of going back to their village when they are finished with their education. She went back to her village and she's a teacher. And the girl in front of her in the blue sweater is Leah. And Leah is still with us. She came when she was about 10 years old. Oh, Leah went home. And she has her diploma in hospitality, and her goal is to become a professional waitress, and waiting on tables in Tanzania is a very prestigious job. She's also one of the most loveliest, kind young women I have ever met in my life. Always a big smile. There are some of the same, whoops, okay? You can Sitting in front of me is Esther, and Esther is studying to be a doctor. And you can see Leah is still with us there in that picture. This is Reverend Limo, and he is the person who we started Door of Hope together. When we go to visit them, when we go to visit the girls, there's always popcorn. That's a big treat for everybody, is popcorn, which I think is a great treat. This is Peniel Shalley, and Peniel Shalley is the founder and director of High Institute of Technology, which is a vocational school. We have a certificate of partnership with Door of Hope and with High Institute. We became partners in 2006, I believe, and I am very nervous standing here, by the way. But when I had to go into the green room and present to parish council that I wanted these two things to be partners, I was shaking even more than I am now. But they agreed, and I had taken this photograph several years before that. And so that's our certificate of partnership, and we have it in our church. And they each have one in the facilities where they are in Tanzania. High Institute of Technology has a very large amount of land. And one of the things that is very popular in Tanzania is soccer, or they call it football. So we are building, right now, God Parents for Tanzania is building a soccer pitch. And of course I had to watch the bulldozer, and also I had to drive it. It's staged, I didn't really drive it. And this is how they level it. I mean, they're out there shoveling the dirt. And you can see how dusty it is. They hadn't had rain there in several months. But it has been raining lately. And so when it is level, they'll roll it again. After the rains come, April is rainy season. And it rains not all day every day, but it rains just about every day for a couple hours. So they'll roll this down again, and then the soccer pitch will be workable, or playable, excuse me. This is High Institute of Technology. This is the boys' dormitory, which is very, very far away from the girls' dormitory. This is a masonry class. The person that's peeking through there is the pastor of my church, that's Philip Walknight. And he and his wife Tara and their daughter were with me in 2022. These are the masonry students, and this thing that they built, they built to show us what they can do in the masonry class. And tailoring is something new there. For this year there are 8 girls in the tailoring class, and last year there were 2. So it's becoming more and more available to people, to the young women in the area. And when you are in Tanzania and in the cities and towns, you can see them sitting on the street with their sewing machines, creating clothes and just helping to support their families and their communities and even the country. And it will help the downward spiral of poverty, because Tanzania is one of the poorest countries in the world. I think it is maybe the 3rd poorest country in Africa. A lot of families live on less than $1 a day. These are students at High Institute. After the pandemic, when they had to close down, there was no money anywhere for students to come, and Peniel Shalley encouraged them to come. And he didn't charge anybody for anything, and the teachers stayed without pay, and they just wanted, his desire is so much to serve his country and his God by helping these students who have no income, their families have no income at all. So they came to High just to visit with us and to make sure that we knew that they were happy with what they were doing. So these are their parents, who also came from far away. The town they came from is called Same, and it's probably about 3 or 4 hours away. So these parents came a long way to see their children in school and to see us and to hear and to thank us for providing a place for their students for their children to become students. This is a young man who's just giving a testimony on his ability, what he learned at High, and that he is a good. I remember him standing there saying how much he thanked God for everything that had happened to him and all the positive. And this is Christina. She is also a graduate of High, and she is the technical director now at High Institute of Technology. This is just the tailoring class. We also make home visits, and the person second from the left is Yotham Baha, and he is our person on the ground in Tanzania. He is a retired Lutheran minister, and he is the one who locates students in Tanzania who possibly would want to come and be part of the door of hope, of Godparents for Tanzania. This is a typical home. That is the kitchen part of the home. The kitchen is usually always separate because of the fire. They still cook over open fire. And so it's safer if the kitchen is far away. This family, by the way, has 11 children. That's more than 2. And this is the toilet. And this home is one of, we also have a program at Trinity that involves sharing with widows in Tanzania. And this is one of the widows that we visit. And to the left of the door is where the animals stay at night. She has a few goats and chickens, and they go inside with them, the family at night. And then the family stays on the other side. She is a widow, and her husband died extremely young as well. This is one of the places we stay. It's called Isoitak, which means place of rocks. This is an environmentally sustainable camp. It's also attached to a Maasai boma, which isn't a tourist attraction, it's a working boma. And they work together in rainwater harvesting and educational projects, and also the people who are employees at Isoitak encourage the Maasai men to keep not many wives, but one wife, and to create more of a relationship like a loving family would have in the United States. Although we don't try to impose our values on them, we do try to keep them, have them learn that it's better. Well, how do I say this without sounding kind of strange? I asked Mbiani, who was one of our Maasai men that we deal with, and we say, Mbiani, how come you don't have more than one wife? He says, I'm a Christian man, and he said, I can hardly handle one. This is the village elder. He has 7 wives and a lot of cattle. And you can see in the background the Maasai boma. This is where they live. And the bushes that are around the edge it's acacia, and acacia has long thorns on it. So they kind of push that all together so that at night the cattle and the sheep and the goats go inside. So it's safe, so that if there are animals around, hyenas or anything like that, they cannot get in to attack the animals or the people. This is just a sunset. No, it's not just a sunset, it's a beautiful sunset. This is inside the Maasai hut. The women actually build the hut, and it's made from mud and cow dung, and the mud comes from the termite mounds. This is the living room inside. This is what we sit on when we visit them. And this is Mbiani, and he is the one I spoke of earlier. And he has, like I said, only one wife, and he has 3 children, I believe. But he is an educated man. Right? When we take a group, we go on a medicine walk with the Maasai, and they teach us about the plants and the trees that they can use if it's for an upset stomach, or if you have a cut or you just are feeling really, really sick, and they have something that you can take for that. And they were telling us to walk. He always tells us to walk. Look down and look for stones, but look up because the acacia has long thorns like this. So I was looking down and I walked into the acacia, and I had a cut that went right across my face like this. And he says, oh, I have something for that. And he put this, whatever this leaf was, on my forehead. The next day I didn't even have a mark. It was totally gone. No bleeding, and everything was gone. So there's possibilities in alternative medicine. This is all of the Maasai men carry a panga, and that's to protect themselves, and usually the cows, because cows are money. And right there he's making us a toothbrush. We also take a hike up a mountain to watch the sunset over the Great African Rift Valley. All these places are just so inspiring and beautiful, and just you can feel the magnitude of God's presence there, and you can just feel the earth. And we're watching the sunset, and of course having a beverage. What? This is sunset again, different one. This is a baobab tree, and I don't know if you know what a baobab tree looks like, but they're very, very big. This one is rather young, it's only 500 years old. And if you hug the baobab, it's supposed to bring you good luck. This is my doctor, by the way, and I encouraged her to kiss the baobab. She goes, no, she says, I don't know what's on there. But I told her they probably had some medicine for that anyway. This is a young boy, and he's learning how to tend the cattle, and what he's doing is he's getting this cow used to him, because this cow will be a leader of the herd. So this cow is getting used to this little boy. He will follow the boy, because some of them do not go to school. We try to encourage them to go to school. But he will have the responsibility of an entire herd of cows. So he has a cow that has to be his best friend, because one cow does something, the other cows follow. This is drumming. We take the groups to drumming and dancing lessons, and it's traditional Maasai and Chaga and all tribes in Tanzania, the drumming and dancing. And so this group, they weren't very good, by the way. Now the group that Linda and Debbie were in, they were very good, because there were a lot of musicians in that group, but this group was not very good. But it's a fun thing to do, and then afterwards we have a professional dance troupe that travel all over Tanzania and other countries, just to keep the tribal traditions alive and show the dancing and singing that they do. And here's the dancing. You see, they were very good before they started. Okay. This is Jimmy, I've known Jimmy for about 7 years now, I guess. And he is part of the professional dance troupe, and what everybody does once, Jimmy does at least 3 times. He is so animated and full of joy, too. You see that they're always smiling. These are the drummers. These are the 2 men who keep us alive. They're very important on the trip, because you don't know how many times they save your life when you're driving. You know, the lines in the road are just a suggestion. So these 2, this is Freddie and Samuel. And Freddie I've known for about 5 years, and Samuel, when I went to Tanzania in 2004, the first time I went with godparents for Tanzania, he was my driver, so I have known him since 2004. These 2 guys are very trustworthy. And there's Kilimanjaro again. Actually, this is the one lodge we stay in. When you look out, well, the room that I stay in, and others on that same floor on that side of the building, you look right at Kilimanjaro. We do take them on a balloon safari over the Serengeti. I know, it's a big bag. Everybody says, oh, how many are in that basket? It takes 16 people. And when you are up in the balloon, you can we take off at sunrise, and once again, To me, sunrise, none of you know me, so you don't know that every morning I take a picture of the sunrise from my house and I post it on Facebook. Because to me, the sunrise is just such a gift, an everyday gift. And so when we take off at sunrise, I'm very pleased about that. That we take off for one thing and that it's at sunrise. And you can just see how vast the Serengeti is. That's the balloon we're in, and that's a shadow of our balloon. And this is the hippo, we fly over the hippo pool. And you can smell them, they're really... Or as my pastor said, how can you trust somebody who uses the toilet in the same place that they sleep? This is what happens when you land. You're happy to be down, but it was a very bumpy landing, and the woman who was in the basket, who was in the compartment above us, took the picture. I wasn't crying, I was very happy. I really was happy. This is I think some of you probably heard about the Great Migration. And it's wildebeest and zebras, and this is where they gather in a place called Ndutu, and this is where the babies are born, and then they begin the migration. And the migration goes from the lower part of Tanzania up around into Kenya, and then back down. It's a complete circle, and they're looking for water. That's just a couple of them. There's hundreds and thousands of them. And Kilimanjaro. Okay. The next things are birds and animals that we see in Tanzania. Sometimes we see them when we are on safari, and sometimes we see them when we are not on safari. So to me it's a shame, it would be a shame to go to Tanzania and not look at the things that God has created there, because it's such a beautiful country. I went for the animals, but I stayed for the people. So these next are just, you can go through them.
Not too fast, son.
Yeah, not too. You want them to back up a little bit? I can tell you what. Do you want to know what they are? I can tell you what they are, if you're interested. No answer. Don't care. You want to know? I see. Yeah, all right. You want to back up just a little bit more? Okay, this is a cinnamon-chested bee eater, and you can see it has a bee in its mouth. I have no clue what this bird is. This is a lilac-breasted roller. And again, this is a red bishop. This is I think that's a great blue heron. Looks just like ours. These are lovebirds. And there's more of them in the tree. This is called a bagel-effect weaver. And the weaver builds its nest upside down. The entrance is on the bottom like that, so the snakes cannot get in there and take the eggs or the babies. This is an owl. In Tanzania, owls are bad luck. You're not supposed to look directly at them. I didn't. I just pointed the camera that way. These are carmine bee eaters. These are called valerian. They're just beautiful flowers. And then, of course, my favorite color. Kilimanjaro again. And again. These are dwarf mongoose. Giraffe. Giraffe, by the way, are that's my favorite animal, is a giraffe. That's a baboon that appears to be on the giraffe's neck, but it's not. The giraffe's tongues are 18 inches long and they're blue. And their favorite is the acacia tree, and they take their tongue and they wrap it around the leaves, so thorns don't bother them at all. Now, when the hippo opens its mouth like that, what they told me the legend is, the hippo opens its mouth like that, and what he's doing, he's saying, "Look, God, I have no food in my mouth, please send me something." And I know somebody's going to say, how close are you to them? Very close. They are not bothered by the car. Of course, you're not allowed out of the car. But they would be about from here to halfway down the aisle here. And that's pretty close. Sometimes they even come closer. Okay, there's a series of 4 pictures here, and the animal is an antelope with a stripe is called Thompson's gazelle, and there is a lap-winged plover there, and it was kept going after this Thompson's gazelle. I don't know why, but if you see in the pictures, you'll see who won the argument. This is a colobus monkey. It's a Cape buffalo. This is early, very early in the morning. The one place we stay in tented camps in the Serengeti, and that's all dew on the grass. And there's a couple of resident buffalo, or they say buffalo, and they're out there every morning. But they're very dangerous. I was not close to that one.
So we learned about those birds in school, and they ride on other animals and pick the bugs off them, right?
That's right. Well, there's oxpeckers that do that, but these are like the cattle egret we have here. They're almost exactly the same as the ones that are there. And they do the same thing, they pick the bugs off and get a ride. They don't have to fly. These are warthogs. This is an impala. This is a kudu. This is one of the largest antelopes. This is the female. More impala. This is a water buck. Okay, when I take pictures like this, I like to say, how many zebras do you see? How many do you see there? Every time I look at it, I get a different number, so.
I'm thinking about 13.
You see 13. I've gotten 13 a couple times, too. This is a serval cat, and she is hunting. A leopard. And this is a cheetah. They always like the highest place because cheetahs have to hunt every day, where lions and leopards do not. The cheetah has to hunt every day, so she likes the highest place. And I like this one because this is like, if you have children, your kid is saying, "But Mom, I didn't do it. I really didn't do it." And your mom is like, "Yeah, you did. I know you did." If you see these pictures, you see when they're lying down, they always have their paws turned in. I've asked why that is, and the only answer I ever get is because they're waiting for someone to come near them, so all they have to do is reach out and slap them with their paw. I don't know if it's true or not, but it sounds like it could be. Lions sleep 20 hours a day. And the males very seldom hunt. It's usually the females that do the hunting.
Again, thank you so very much for that. I'm reminded very quickly, 3 things. God calls, God equips, God accomplishes. Think about that. God calls, God equips, God accomplishes. And as you're asking God, well, where do I fit? Let God call you. Let God equip you. And then let God accomplish in you. All he needs from you is to say, here am I.